everyone, and welcome back. After my Where's the Fair Use comment, this is a normal episode, which will also go into the playlist so you know which videos to actually watch and which ones to ignore. um, so, we're here back at camp. And I thought it'd be interesting to have a few talks with everyone, especially since we don't want to skip any dialogue options, because it was brought to my attention by a friend of mine that I recently met that by going up in whatever these points are called, adoration points or friendship points or whatever, approval, I guess. By going up with those points without talking to the party members enough, you will actually skip dialogue options. So I don't want to do that. And this episode is just going to be me talking to people. So if you want to skip that and you want to get back right into the action, then you need to go to the next episode. I promise I won't be mad. But it's actually interesting what they have to say. And in Alistair's case, for example, is really cute too. So, but I'll start by talking to Morgan since, well, she's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. So, hi, Morgan.
I await your command.
See, I already gave her some gifts, so now I think I already skipped some options. But that's fine. Um, I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
How did you become a shape changer? Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry? Is Flemeth really what she seemed? Yeah, that would be something that Nesiris would ask.
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
Just let me turn down the volume a little. Um, an old woman, a powerful Maleficar. Maleficar means blood mage. A nutty old bat. Human. Yeah, let's go with that.
Oh, she certainly was human. Once. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
Now this is interesting, because Flemeth, actually something did happen to her, apparently, as far as we know, after Trespasser, the last DLC to Dragon Age Inquisition. And yeah, it's interesting what Morgan has to say about this, I guess. Um, I didn't know there was such a thing. I've heard a little. I'm more interested in the truth. Spare me the. Nah, that's mean. Yeah, Nazaris wouldn't have heard of that.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Sounds interesting. Alright, yes.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
That's mean. Not true then. Oh. How long ago was this? That's an interesting question.
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Oh, wow. So Flemeth was sold to another guy for wealth. Okay, that's kind of mean. But something that Flemeth says, I think during Inquisition, I think it's not Trespasser. I think it's still the main game, but pretty much at the end. She has a scene where she says something like, she was betrayed as I was betrayed. And maybe she's referring to this betrayal where she was betrayed. The other she, I'm not saying. So, must have been angry. Yeah.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
Well, I guess that's a normal reaction. But wasn't she now married to a wealthier man? So she truly loved Osen. I guess in Flemeth's case, maybe it was more that they didn't keep their end of the bargain. So she felt betrayed because of that, but I guess we'll never know because Flemeth is weird. What would Nesiris say? I guess she'd be concerned. No, I guess yeah.
That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. So, according to myth and according to what Morrigan is retelling here, she was possessed by a demon. I guess, for lack of a better word, that could be true. Also, the thing with he had no honor, so she wouldn't have him. That, and the whole Flemeth thing, for what I understand of it, kind of goes, or seems to go back to the whole ancient priestess queen thing that was going on, like in Celtic mysticism, like the Lady of the Lake, if you want to go to the Avalon saga. So, like, the queen or the high priestess would take a mate for like a year to try and have children with him, and when his time had come, he would be sacrificed. Of course, nobody knows anything about that, and it's less than fact. People make up stories like that all the time. But the point is that it reminded me of that, like the whole he had no honor, she wouldn't have him. That sounds like something right out of a Marion Zimmer Bradley novel, if you know her novels like Mists of Avalon and stuff. I'm sorry for the tangent, it hit me. Of course Flemeth would say that, which she never invaded or he never defeated her. That's a smart question. Nesiris would never ask it.
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version? How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long? The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters. Yeah, that's something that's, I forgot the title of the comic book, but there's comic books. Like, just as novels, they kind of add to the story of the universe, of the world that is Thedas. And there's, oh god, I forgot the title, but there's one comic book, well, it's several, but they deal with Flemeth and her daughters. So actually Morgan isn't the only child of Flemeth. Apparently she has at least one sister. I think one of them is called Yavanna or something like that. And I think she's killed, but I can't quite remember. I've just seen pictures because it's very hard to come by these comic books here in Germany. It's really, really hard to get them, and they're really expensive. So, anyway, so this game kind of operates under the premise that at one time she only has one daughter, but apparently there's several. She isn't stupid enough to ask something like this because she knows it would upset her.
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
Yes, that's an interesting question.
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
What are you saying, Morgan? Okay, last question.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Something that I find interesting as well is they're mages. So and there's different schools for being a mage. Like, for example, Morgan is a shapeshifter. But what would differentiate a mage from a witch in this world? Because they're all magic users and they all draw on the same kind of magic, like from the Fade. So, and often in other systems, like in D&D or DSA or I don't know, other fantasy systems, mages and witches or sorcerers or something, they have different kinds of magic. Like mages get their spells, for example, from books and from studying, and they have to prepare their spells and stuff. And witches and sorcerers often like pull their magic from the land and from spirits or from within themselves or something. So I don't quite understand why they still call themselves, or why they are still called witches, even though they're just normal mages, normal apostates, but still normal mages. They use magic the same way any other mage in this world would. So that's curious to me, I guess. An interesting story, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious, nevertheless.
Wow, Morgan showing interest. Oh god, I'm so in love with her. She's just so... I can never decide whether I want to date her or be her best friend. I just love her so much. She can be a dick, a huge dick, especially in Inquisition in that one temple. You know the one. She can be horrible, but I still enjoy her character very much, especially when she's being nice. So, nothing really to say. I love her. What else do you want to know? Wow, that's mean. My mother died. Yes, because she did.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which
Aw.
is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Ah. Okay, I think we've spent enough time on talking to Morrigan. We'll talk to her later some more. I've already had that one dialogue with Sten, I'm sorry. But I think we got the gist of it, like, I can't be a warrior, yet I am, so he's banished from my active party by Sten, even though I really like you. So, oh, let's go pet the dog, 'cause Barkington...
Oh, why, you little...
These scenes are the best. Did you just jump at the sight of your own shadow? Are you harassing my dog?
Oh, you're so funny. Such rapier wit. Your furry friend here took offence at me getting near his food. He snapped at me. Look.
Well, it's it's a dog for hunting or for fighting. If he sees himself as superior to you, you definitely shouldn't go near his food. That's like Dogs 101. Everyone who's ever owned a dog knows that. And Alistair grew up in Redcliffe, so I'm pretty sure he's been around dogs before. So I don't get what his problem is. But that's me personally, so... Hardly any blood drawn. Still, he shouldn't have. It was just a warning. He could have taken the hand off. Good boy. No, that's too mean. Well, he is a war dog. Let's say this.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
Aww.
I once heard a really old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished.
Aww.
Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh.
Aw, he's so adorable.
Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Aw, look at him. I'm sorry. My dog died like 3 months ago. I don't even remember exactly. I feel horrible. But he died, and he was my favorite thing in my life, in general. So whenever I see a dog now, even if it's just an animated dog, I'm kind of like, oh my god, dog! You can drop me anywhere, as long as you give me a dog, I'll be happy for hours. So, yeah. If you've had it and didn't know it, it probably was tasty. I'd never feed you another human being.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Yes, show him.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
like I've said it a million times, I'll say it again. The dialogue in Dragon Age Origins is like, it's pristine, it's amazing, it's well written, it's well rounded, it's on point, it's funny, it's witty. I don't know, I love it. I love it so much more. Like, Inquisition has its moments. Let's just not speak about 2. Inquisition has its moments, but Origins is like the pinnacle for me personally. Origins is the pinnacle of video game writing, as far as I'm personally concerned. I know that's not like an objective point of view or anything. Wow, that's harsh. Hinky thing. Why doesn't he share his food? No, he means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
Aww. Not a nursemaid. You heard the lady. It was a gift. You can't just throw it away.
I just did.
Aww.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Aww. That dog is too smart for his own good.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
Oh, I love this. I love this dialogue. I'm gonna watch them.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Yes, he is. And don't you forget it. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? Woof. It's going to take some time, you know. Oh, don't be silly. No. Well, good luck with that. Okay. Let's go talk to... Okay, let's save. I know it's kind of like cheating, but I don't like messing up my conversation, so...
Yes?
Her boobs look weird in the armor. I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
Oh, she hates me. This vision of yours, what was life like in the Chantry? What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry? This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
Okay. What then? So it's just a dream? You dreamed of the blight. Okay.
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
So, laying it on really thick with the Christian illusions, aren't we? Like the rose bush, really? The flowering rose bush? That's Christianity 101, Christian symbolism 101. Well, maybe just for me, because I grew up Catholic, but, like, come on, Dragon Age. um, that's just wishful thinking. No, she is religious, so. Mm. Did you hear voices? And this made you want to help me.
In my dream, I fell. Or, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything?
The chantry says the Maker has left us. The blight is the Maker's punishment. Will you defy him? Yeah, he's left us because, like, she's a city elf. So she's gotta feel pretty lost.
He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me?
And that's one of the things that I like about Liliana. Like, she's a religious nut. She could be described as a fanatic believer, but she's different from, like, to the normal believers, like, in the chantry, who are, like, adhering strictly to the rules and the traditions, and she's more like, oh my god, God is everywhere, and his word is everywhere, and let's bring his word to the people and stuff. So, but she's still just as devout and fanatic. So, if the chantry is, for example, the Catholic Church, then Liliana's faith would be more akin to, like, evangelical Christians, maybe. So it's not as dry and traditionalist and conservative, but it is underneath a veneer of fun and open-mindedness and stuff. There's the same values, just buried beneath this layer of trying to seem open-minded and fun and experimental and open and stuff. Anyway, I'm going off on quite a few tangents. Are you saying the chantry is wrong? Believe what you feel is right to you. Just make sure your beliefs aren't a hindrance. I understand, let's move on. Yeah.
Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Yeah, that's a typical evangelical thing to say, I feel like. Okay, so we have one person left. One thing that I will do is turn down the voices a little, because it's really quite loud. Oh, no. Okay, so, actually we have two left, so let's go talk to Sten first.
Yes.
I wanted to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak then.
Okay.
Then I suggest we move on.
I have a
I
question.
am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
He's so adorable. I'm sorry. What was the question? You came all this way for that. What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
'Cause he abandoned his mission or something, and now he's Talvashoth, I think.
Thank you. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
Okay.
As you wish.
Oh my god, he approved! Oh my god! Okay. let's save and let's talk to Alistair.
What do you need?
Oh wow, he hates me.
Ask away.
Wow, that's like really early game dialogue. What can a Templar do exactly? Tell me about the Grey Wardens. So how did you become a Grey Warden? Or no, let's ask about Arleman.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Now when I explain the smell, I thought you were raised by the Chantry. Really, that must have been tough for them. That's not what I remember you telling them.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
So, I think by now it's common knowledge that Alistair's mom was an elven serving girl, so that makes him a half-elf. The thing about half-elves in Thedas, or in the Dragon Age universe, is that they look exactly like humans, so they don't get the pointy ears. So that was probably best for Alistair, though. And as to who his father was, well, that will play out in the game. But I guess you can guess who it might have been. Why did he send you off? He wasn't your father, so you know who is. But you blamed him, then yeah.
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Isle didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Aww. I always remember this at a certain point in the game. And then I take my vengeance on her. But probably not this playthrough, though. Or maybe, if she isn't nice. Luckier than most orphans. Wasn't it inappropriate to raise an orphan? What an awful thing to do to a child. Probably luckier than most orphans from her perspective.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Isle's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Isle came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
And that's why I like Alistair. He's the typical hard shell, soft core kind of person. Like, he will play off everything with sarcasm and cynicism, but deep down inside, he's just a hurt person who wants to be acknowledged and loved and accepted. So I really like that about him. No matter if he's a Templar or not, or his beliefs or anything. I think he's just an adorable character. And you think the Owl will help us? Are you sure he isn't your father? You were young. Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, I'm quite sure. At any rate, I don't look anything like him. You'll see for yourself. Not that it stopped the rumors any. All I know is that the Arl is a good man and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Hey, I didn't get any approval from that. Damn it. Let me see where we are approval-wise. Oh, that's not good. Okay, let's do one more. Wait. Save. Let's do one more thing.
What do you need? Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
So am I. I thought Templars wore heavy plate mostly. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it. Not this again. No, I've never seen wearing.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
And there we go again. Like, I've known people like this in real life, and I think to an extent I am like this in real life. And I can just sympathize so much. What's the real reason? So you stay a Templar out of sentiment. So this is where you deflect questions with humor. Yeah.
I'd use my shield if I could, but I think you might actually spot me hiding behind it. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes. Then make up something more exciting? No. You don't have to tell me then. I was just curious. No, if it's going to know. I do really want to know.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about
Oh,
your life, Alistair.
That was wrong.
All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
Oh, that's mean. What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Not anymore. The alienage in Denerim. My family's there. Well, her family is in the alienage, but the Grey Wardens gave her a way out of the alienage so she could be a fighter and an adventurer. And also, I just want to say this, screw it.
It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
No, they're not, because you're only one chapter, basically, in the Grey Wardens, but, like, the Warden Fortress is in Weishaupt. I forget where that is. I think the Anderfells, but I probably have it wrong. Either way, there's wardens in different places, not just in Ferelden. So, yeah, the Grey Wardens will only be basically over in Inquisition and not even then. we even survive, they can be rebuilt, you can always keep traveling. Yeah.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Yes! Oh, that approval. It feels so sweet. Okay, so that was my talking episode. Talking with everyone at camp. Except for Bodan. For some reason he won't give me his quest. Maybe I can get it at some point. Next episode we'll... Let me look at the map. Where do we want to go first? We could go to Denerim. But I'd say let's do one of the main quests first. So I'm guessing Nesiris might want to go to the mages, to the dwarves, or to the elves first, to the Dalish. I'll try to decide this off camera, but one of the first things we're gonna do is the Mage Tower, the dwarves, or the Dalish. Redcliffe and Denerim and stuff, that'll come later. So thank you all for watching from Nesiris and me. I hope it wasn't too boring. Maybe you watched this even though it's not a gameplay episode per se. Make sure to check out my Where's the Fair Use comment video if you haven't, and if you're at all interested in the fate basically of YouTube and YouTubers and the internet and stuff. And take care, and I'll see you next time.